Shalom, Chaverim. Welcome to this week's Torah portion summary, Lech Lecha. There is a lot of exciting adventure that happens this week. I hope I can cover it all. Lech Lecha means to go. It really means to go for yourself, and we are going to go on a major journey with the first patriarch, Avraham Avinu. Although when we meet him at the beginning, his name is Avram, not Avraham. If I accidentally call him Avraham in the beginning, my mistake. But know that his name is Avram at this point in the journey. And as I said in the beginning, the Almighty calls him onto a journey and says to him, Lech lecha me'artzecha umimoladecha umibeit avicha. You're going to go. You're going to leave everything you know, your native land and your father's house, for an unknown place. Stop and think about how that would feel to be called to something you have no idea about and what type of trust you would need to do that. But it is God who is calling him, although nobody yet in the world knows who Hashem is at this moment. So Hashem calls him and lets him know that he will have a great nation, and all those that bless him will be blessed, and all those that curse him will be cursed. And so Avram listens, and at the age of 75, he takes his wife Sarai, later shall be called Sarah, and they take their nephew Lot and they begin on this journey. And on their way, when they are in Shechem, Hashem says, Avram, look around and know that all of this land, all of the land of Israel will be yours. I promise it to your offspring. And then Avram continues on his journey to the Negev. Now, that was a lot that happened, and and then there is a famine in the land. All right. So they decide they're going to go down to Egypt where there's still food. You might remember a story like that because it's going to happen in Shemot. But for now, we only have Avram and Sarai. And in the beginning of the second portion, they go into Egypt, and Avram says, Sarai, you are very beautiful. If anyone asks, just say you're my sister. And Sarai goes to Paro's house, and Paro wants to marry her. But Paro gets very sick. And eventually, Avram and Sarai leave Egypt with lots of wealth from their time, and they continue on their way. All right. Third Aliyah, the third calling up to the Torah. Now, I want you to remember that Avram has been told that he's going to be going to be a great leader, and all of this land of Israel will be to his future offspring. But at this point, he has zero children. And this is going to be a point of tension and concern because how can your future generations have this land if you have no future generations? So he has his nephew Lot with him, and he's hoping maybe Lot will be the future generation, but they're really not getting along well. They're just fighting a lot, and all of their people are fighting a lot because Abraham's not traveling by himself. People like him and people go with him. So Avram says, Avram says, Lot, we need to split up. You go this way, I go that way. You go this way, I go that way. You choose, and I'll go the other direction. Lot sees how beautiful one area is, and he goes that way towards Sodom. And Avram goes the other way towards Hebron. And all is fine. Except then there is the battle of the four kings versus the five kings. I'm not going to go into that too much because it takes us off the course. Although if you're into studying battles, it is interesting. It's just if I want to cover everything that's going to be in here, I'm never going to get it all done. Okay, so Abram gets pulled in to the battle of the four kings versus the five kings, and he tries to settle it out. and things aren't good in Sodom, which is where Lot is. Okay. Now, as I said, our problem for Avram is still that he wants to be the father. He wants his offspring. He needs to be an Abba. He's still not an Abba. So now he thinks maybe Eliezer, his top helper, will be it. And Hashem says, no, it's not going to be Eliezer. You're going to have your own son. Not only going to have your own son, your future offspring are going to be as many as the stars in the sky. Too many to ever be counted. When you're outside at night and it's really starry, look at all of those stars. Think how amazing those are. And realize that the stars you're looking at are the same ones that Abraham looked at and knew that you represent one of them. Pretty powerful. Okay, they're still on their great journey together. Now we have something which is hard to understand. It is a brit, a promise, a covenant. It's called Brit Ben Habitarim, the covenant between the parts. It is a promise between Avram and Hashem. It involves korbanot, but things getting split in two, the animals. And Hashem tells Abraham about what's going to happen later in Egypt, the story that we know from Pesach, from Passover, but he lets them know your people are going to be slaves. And he tells them more about the future and what will be. And he promises again that all of the land is going to be the land of the Jewish people. Now, again, we still have our problem. Do you remember what Avram's problem is? No sons. So Sarai has this idea that maybe he should marry someone else. And so he marries Hagar. Doesn't go well. Now Hagar and Sarah are fighting. Hagar runs away. Hagar comes back. She has a son named Ishmael. Hmm, I wish they were getting along better, but they just don't. That's where we are. And then now we've moved forward in a lot of text and a lot of years. And Avram is 99 years old. And he still doesn't have a son. And I hope I called Avram every time in this part of the video. But now, when he's 99 years old, Hashem says, your name is not Avram anymore. I'm going to put the letter Hey into your name, and now you will be Avraham. And this is Av Le'amon Goyim, the father of many nations. That's a great promise. So he really is going to get to be a father? Maybe. I mean, it hasn't happened yet. That's why it's still a maybe, but it's not a maybe because Hashem chooses these things. At the beginning of the seventh Aliyah, the seventh person called the Torah, Hashem promises Abraham, remember that you and I have this brit, this promise for all times, and this land for all times belongs to our people. And one of the other parts of the brit, the promise, before I said there was a brit where the animals got, but now there's another brit that Avraham needs to do. And this is a brit that you probably do know about, but you might have heard it called bris. Brit milah, bris, circumcision. And it's a promise that's done on baby boys when they are so new, when they're 8 days old. And this brit, this promise, this bris is a promise that this is going to be a Jewish baby boy and that this baby boy is dedicated from the time of Abraham to the time of today. That we keep this promise of this is what it means to be a Jewish boy at 8 days old. Now, Abraham is not 8 days old in the story. He is 99, and he's still going to do a brit milah on himself. So now we have Abraham doing this. And I said before, Sarai is not going to be Sarai anymore. Now she gets the letter Hey in her name, and she is going to be Sarah. And Hashem is going to bless her and Abraham a son, so that they together will do, as we said from the beginning, have their nation that will inhabit the land of Israel. It's very beautiful. It's very exciting. I almost said this line because that is where I live now. I'm excited to record this video from the land that was promised thousands of years ago to Abraham to today. Now, when Abraham hears that he is going to be an Abba at 99 years old, he throws himself to the ground laughing. Wow, he's so full of joy at this possibility. I think I might end the story there. That's more or less where the parasha ends. Abraham does the Brit Milah, and the excitement will continue in next week's Torah portion. So that was a lot. The journey of Avraham going for himself from his home, following Hashem through the land of Israel, through many promises to get to where we are today. I hope you enjoyed the story of Lech Lecha, and well, it's not Shabbat Shalom yet, but may it be a wonderful Shabbat. Thank you for listening.